The last decade has witnessed a mass proliferation of internet facilities across the country. The digital economy has been made accessible to almost every person, thanks to the relatively unregulated sector and the Digital India program. As a natural consequence of this and the outbreak of the COVID-19 global pandemic, people from all walks of life took to social media platforms to share their opinion, glean information, and be a part of the virtual world that left no opinion unheard and no voice unrecognized. But now the Modi government has different plans for you. The digital media in India will now be regulated and can face action for violations under an amended law that the government plans to bring in the parliament session next week. The law for the registration of media will start for the first time include digital media, which has never been defined by any law or any government regulation till now. The amendments will bring digital news media under the control of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. With the implementation of this law, digital news publishers will now have to apply for registration and will be required to do so within 19 days of the law coming into effect. If the bill is passed, digital news websites operating in India will come on par with newspapers, and they will have to register themselves with the Press Registrar General, who will have powers to act against various publications for violations and who can suspend or cancel registration and impose penalties. Equivalent to the prevalent registrar of the newspapers in India, digital news platforms currently do no such registrations. The Centre in 2019 had put out a draft of the bill that defined news on digital media as news in digitized format that can be transmitted over the internet, networks, mobile, including text, audio, video, and graphics. When the bill was proposed, it stirred controversy as many argued that it was the centre's attempt to control digital news media. The central government at that time had not moved further with the draft. The government says that the basic essence of this amendment is soft touch oversight mechanism to deal with issues such as persistent spread of fake news, inappropriate content, use of abusive language, contents related to obscenity, hate speech, etc., etc. On the other hand, people say that this is a very wrong decision because this is just a tool for the government to censor things. Content on digital platforms or independent digital news channels where the government is criticized, where questions are raised against the government, will be banned by the government now and will get difficult for such digital news platforms to work. We all know what the condition of TV news channels is. Almost all news channels are sitting on the government's lap. So now will digital media meet a similar fate? Now what will be the impact of the content creators on the online news channels? If the digital media comes under the government's eye, then there is a possibility that content creators of online news channels will stop making or exploring different aspects. How will you watch online shows produced outside of India when it will not even be made? And eventually this will affect the economy and the progress of the country. The Information and Broadcasting Ministry, which will be the administrative ministry, has started the process to amend the registration of press and periodicals bill to include news on digital media through any electronic device. This also comes to a time when a tussle between the government and Twitter over removal of certain content related to the ongoing farmers' protest. The government has also been at loggerheads with WhatsApp for over 2 years on the issue of tracing the originator of the messages on the platform. The Facebook-owned firm has in the past refused to comply with the government's request to trace the origin of a fake message, stating that the move will undermine the private nature of the platform. The constriction of immunity enjoyed by intermediaries was long in the making. It remains to be seen how these new IT rules or amendment will play out in practice and whether the government will indeed adopt a light touch in exercising its vast powers. There is a case to be made that Indian authorities need more and not less guidance in matters of freedom of speech. The year 2020 was replete with instances of takedowns and blocks without much explanation from the government. The new amendment will now at least mandate reasons for such takedowns to be debated, and provided the three-tier grievances redressal mechanism works, it will provide material for the High Courts and Supreme Court to examine them in the event government actions are challenged. Invariable as with implementation of any major legislation, we can expect a long process of trial and error. It is, however, undeniable that freedom of speech on the internet may well end up being regulated much more than in the past. Now, as much as these changes affect social media or digital news media, it will also affect you as viewers. Every rule and regulations comes with some benefits and some drawbacks. You as an user, let us know what you think about this decision. Drop your take on this on the comment section below. Thank you for watching Unplugged TV India. Please hit like, subscribe and share.